So we have with us now Rick Hatswell from Craftsman Collision. Rick, nice to see you. Welcome to our video series.
Thank you.
So I guess kind of starting out, and we kind of like to focus on BC because that's primarily where most of your business still is. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay. So can you tell us a little bit about the markets in BC in which you operate and kind of a little bit of a background about Craftsman Collision for some that may not be entirely familiar with it?
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Hugh. The Craftsman Collision is based out of BC. So our head office is in North Vancouver in British Columbia. And we started there. So our original store was on Cambie and 8th and Cambie. And then we moved down to 7th and Cambie, 6th and Cambie as we got kicked out through development. And now we have 43 locations across BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and one in Los Angeles. So, but the bulk of the stores, about 35 stores, are in British Columbia. We are the largest independently owned MSO in Canada. So my dad, Bill Hatswell, started the business and is still the CEO and owner of the business. I'm the president of operations, so I run all of the stores in Canada. And we have the one store in LA is my sister runs that one. So she's down there. And we also have a bit of a development side with our business too, where we actually own and run our own businesses. So we own some of the locations, and we also build apartment buildings and things like that, which my brother is president of.
Okay, fascinating. A sort of a multi-faceted business then, if you like. So yeah. I guess sticking with sort of, BC and perhaps the lower mainland, because obviously that's the core and that's where your HQ is. How have things been in the market there right now? I mean, what are some of the key things that have been happening?
Well, it's interesting with COVID early on for everyone, I think across the whole country. April and May were really, really bad. But it's picked up since then. So it depends on the market. For sure, our downtown stores, like Main Street, actually wasn't really even down that much over the entire year. Our fiscal year just ended. And it wasn't down too much. But then we have pockets out in the valley in Langley, up north, other places like that, Prince George, the interior really died off. But luckily, being in the collision business, people still do have accidents. And so the business overall, although it was down 40-50% in April, May, has relatively sprung back in BC. ICBC numbers in August, I remember, were only down 12% of claims, and we're currently down 15 to 20% based on market. But the odd store is still running at maybe only 5% down from last year.
Okay, well, that's very interesting, and it's good to see that the business is doing so well despite all the challenges that we faced. But obviously, this COVID-19 pandemic has changed the way we've had to do business, obviously, to keep people safe, both the staff and customers. So what are some of the processes and changes you've implemented, and how do you think they're influenced or impact the business overall?
Yeah, I mean, everything that we've done has been something that has enhanced safety. So, and I think it's actually impacted the business really well for now and the future. I mean, I think people are just going to expect this kind of service going into the future. In British Columbia, the industry worked with ICBC and was able to get a disinfectant fee. So every customer's vehicle gets disinfected in and out. Plus, if we have a fleet of replacement cars, which Craftsman Collision does have a fleet of cars, we also get to disinfect those cars. And that's something we did early on, even before we were being compensated for it, because we wanted to make sure that customers understood that when they got into one of our cars or they got back into their own car, that it was safe and germ-free. So that was an early on thing that we did. We also did get some airtime on radio stations and TV to advertise that fact. The other thing that we did was the valet service, which in BC, it's part of the ICBC agreement, but it isn't widely used. But we actually went out and advertised it and asked people to say, if you don't want to come to us, we'll come to you. And so we were going out to people's houses, picking up vehicles, dropping them back off. And it actually worked quite seamlessly with our systems and how things go. With our fleet of courtesy cars, we were able to just drive right to their house, swap a car, and take it back to the shop. So things like that were really good. We also introduced Drive Pure disinfectant service. So it's based out of Texas, the product, and it is active in your vehicle for up to 6 months. afterwards. So as an additional fee, if customers wanted it, when they got their car back, we could Drive Pure certify their vehicle with their disinfectant product, and it remains active for 6 months. So we've added some extra services to make sure people feel safe when they're getting back in their cars. Okay,
great. Fantastic. And obviously, the big question is now sort of looking to the future. Obviously we don't have a crystal ball, but it's kind of interesting to figure out where things are now to where they were kind of this time, like 12 months ago, So with that in mind, Rick, so what do you think some things our industry really needs to consider so both it overall and the businesses within it continue to prosper down the road?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the easiest way to look at it is the Amazon generation. So I know that even in my own house, every day, every 15 minutes, another delivery truck comes in and drops something off at my door. So I think really the future is going to be the door-to-door service and the ease of booking your vehicle in. So, we've spent this time to work on our internal systems, our website, and all our booking systems, so that in the future, and even right now, when people want to get their cars fixed, they don't need to come down for an estimate and come back for the drop off and come back again and over and over. So we're trying to make it seamless so that, you go online, you can book it without even speaking to a person, get your car booked in, and we can either pick it up or you can drop it off, basically touchless, and move on with your day. I think vehicles, are not necessarily a commodity. They're still a necessity, but I think people are looking at them as, how do I make my life as easy as Amazon? So how do we reduce customer effort and get them in and out faster?
Okay, that's really interesting. And I think there's definitely a trend, towards that kind of level of customer service. So I guess we'll see how it all pans out, right?
Yeah.
Well, Rick, it's been a real pleasure chatting with you today. Thank you so much for your time.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Hugh.